What is going on, everybody? It is episode 317 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name's Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We were all just engaging in some friendly banter before we went live. But
Politically incorrect banter.
Yeah, we're happy to invite you into the conversation now. And we got Dane in the studio.
Hi, I'm Dane.
I already started out the episode, by the way, with a faux pas. I said politically incorrect, which is not a word.
You did?
I did.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah. Dane, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing phenomenal.
I heard you don't have to. You can schedule uploads now, so there's never going to be a birth control alarm again.
I mean, I just might let it up for the memes.
Just do it anyways. He just leaves it up every day and doesn't have to do anything with it.
I still have to do one upload at 3:30, so I can change my birth control time to 3:30.
Perfect.
And I understand you're on all coffee, no food.
I am exclusively on coffee. I am wired. I am hyper. I am fearful for my life. And I'm ready to go.
Okay, all right. Well, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today now that we know that Dane is fearing for his life. Peter Pan and Wendy. We discussed last week how the trailer was downvoted to oblivion by you, the good audience who knows that this stuff is garbage. Well, they have finally relented. Disney has decided we don't want to put up with this anymore, and they turned the comments off. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about it in conjunction with this article written about a new possible tax law going into effect in California, which will incentivize equity-style casting and hiring practices in Hollywood via their tax credits. So we'll kind of discuss those together, see if we can find a way in which how those could possibly affect one another. You know, how you make Peter Pan and Wendy. Does it have to do with the casting? We'll talk about it. We're also going to talk about the horrible writers of Dungeons and Dragons just saying the quiet part out loud, like they don't even care. They basically said, we love emasculating men. And I always suspected. Go figure, right? I did suspect that from Hollywood. Nice to hear it out loud, though. Also, Isaiah Washington. We remember last week, guys, just a couple days ago, I mentioned Romeo Must Die on the podcast. Well, Isaiah Washington, who is in Romeo Must Die, he is retiring or supposedly retiring from acting because of the consistent racial divide created by Hollywood and some other reasons. He has a scandal going back to the days of Grey's Anatomy. So we're going to talk about that. And also, the Victoria's Secret fashion show, guys, it's coming back. I can hear you clapping. I can hear. Stop. You don't need to clap. They're saying that it's okay. They didn't say it's going to be woke, but they said it's going to follow their new. You got what?
Did men even like this in the first place? I thought this was all for women to
scantily clad women.
Men maybe not watch the live show, but they definitely watch the clips.
Men notoriously don't care for lingerie, so.
I don't know who those men are, but they're bad people. They're bad people.
I mean,
they're bad people, and they should be on a list somewhere.
Lingerie is notoriously something that exclusively appeals to men like over 60.
I think that's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that's right. I'm going to need somebody to pull up the statistics on that. You know? I don't think that's accurate.
Who told you this?
I mean, shouldn't the women be naked?
That helps.
I'm just confused.
We're gonna talk about it. The Victoria's Secret fashion show going possibly woke, given their new mission statement. I looked it up. Also, Lizzo has thoughts on that, so it's always good when Lizzo has thoughts on anything to do with lingerie. I'd prefer if she stayed far, far away from, but she's got thoughts. So we'll talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, we'll just get right into it. Mary, you ready?
We're ready.
Danny, you ready?
I am.
All right. So before we get started, I do want to make first to address this. Creed opened up to 58.6 million this weekend. Creed 3. Also, Cocaine Bear beat Ant-Man like over three separate days again last week.
Dude, when you said Creed, I thought you meant like in arms wide open. That would have been
even better.
Chris Bertman tweeted about seeing Creed 3, and he said the fight scene was mid.
That's I saw that. I didn't see the second Creed. I only saw the first one. I didn't want to have them ruin Ivan Drago, which I heard it's actually good. So maybe I'll go back and rewatch the first one, watch the second one, and then go see it. But it did open to 58.6 million. Apparently, this movie was originally going to be an Amazon Prime movie, but then they bumped it to theaters and they moved Samaritan to Prime. This is all after the purchase of MGM. I can't imagine seeing Samaritan on the big screen. As much as I like that movie, I don't think that was ever supposed to be a big screen release, so I think this was the right call. Yes? No? Maybe?
I mean, I don't...
It was so long ago. I think about how long ago that was that we reviewed Samaritan.
It's a while.
It was like kind of cute and inoffensive.
Yeah,
but
but not theater.
Is
Yeah.
that when I got China AIDS?
Could have been when you had China AIDS.
I think so.
Yeah.
So we got that, and then yes, Cocaine Bear beat Ant-Man and the Wasp several days last week over at the box office, thus proving that Ant-Man and the Wasp is dead in the water after a failed China release. Let's see, we got a couple of other things here that I thought are quite interesting. This is good. Clancy Brown has been hired as Salvatore Maroni for the Batman sequel, the spin-off franchise for the Penguin, which is, if you've ever seen Clancy Brown, he's massive. He's this big command, like he's
How
just
tall
tall.
is he?
I don't know, but on screen he looms over other people. So it's very cool to see him getting more roles like this. He voiced Lex Luthor in a lot of the DC animated stuff, but he is a screen actor as well. So that's good. And also, you remember last week, it was all that time ago, Mary, when we talked about James Bond censorship, and then we
Yes.
talked about Kindle censorship and all this other censorship. Well, they've come for more of it. I just found this. R.L. Stein's Goosebumps books are going to be censored as well.
In a more important point, did they give Evangeline Lilly the haircut of every
Yes. They
lesbian
did.
reporter for Vice?
Yes, they did.
Megan Rapinoe?
Yep.
Yes. What was in Goosebumps that they found objectionable?
So it says they're removing words like slave and love tap. What is wrong with love tap? Can somebody tell me?
I'm very confused.
Does anybody know why that
I
term?
don't know what that is.
Love tap?
Yeah, like is there a reason why love tap's not allowed?
This is sort of like when that band named Slaves
Yeah.
changed their name
Yeah.
because
It's so embarrassing.
of the history of slavery.
And they also said they're going to replace phrases like African American and change it to with brown skin.
What?
Yes.
That doesn't actually describe
No, it
the
doesn't.
race of the person.
It's 2023, Mary. Nothing has to actually
Even-
make sense anymore.
A European person could have brown skin.
Yep. So none of it makes sense. I would like someone to be able to tell me why the hell love tap is not allowed. That's,
don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense. So, also, guys, this was the big one for me. There is a trailer out for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. Unfortunately, it's being produced by Seth Rogen. So.
Are you playing it?
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna
okay.
play. I just want to put it up on screen here, guys. It says from eternal teenager or from permanent teenager Seth Rogen, which I find particularly embarrassing, considering like it's such a front when you think of like how much business acumen it takes to get to the level of Hollywood that he's at. That calling yourself a permanent teenager is essentially
Well,
just like a
his
brand.
and it's
Yeah.
the one that he's chosen for himself, which
Yeah.
is more embarrassing. It's
Yes.
not people insulting him. It's like he's proud of it. He's bragging about it.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing and stupid. The trailer was fine. I encourage you guys to go watch it. It is produced in the animation style of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse.
And also Puss in Boots.
Yes.
For
The likes,
Cinematic masterpiece.
the likes for me are that the kids playing the turtles actually sound like teenagers. That's good. I enjoyed the fact that the animation style was a bit different from everything else we saw. Yes, there is they have race swapped April O'Neil. Did you expect anything less, ladies and gentlemen? I figured they would do that. They were always going to come for April O'Neil. And then there was an interesting debate going around on Twitter where they were saying like somebody said that they believe that April O'Neil was actually meant to be black in the original earliest incarnations of the comic. So somebody just said that as if it was 100% fact and done. And then of course other people came in and proved that like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird didn't. They said that at one point they thought she may have like they maybe conceived her possibly being Asian to start, but they always envisioned her as white. So somebody just says it as if it's true. It's not true. What do you expect?
I
right?
can't wait for in the future when we become massive e-celebrities and they do a biopic on us and Lizzo plays Mary.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no,
oh yeah.
Hey, guys.
they
My-
can't do this. to
Mary
me.
Morgan here.
My favorite is like when they make all of the covers of movies. It's like the movie's Elon, and it's just a black person. They just painted his face black, and they just make him black, and then they do the
because
same
he's
thing.
African, of course.
Yeah.
I want Will Smith to play me, and I want it to be his come-out role where he's cool again. It's the 90s.
It would be. Wouldn't that be nice? Also, yeah, and also in that trailer, is it just me or does Splinter look like he would say bussin'? He's got like the teenage hair, like he's got like the hair.
Did they give him like a zoomer perm?
Yeah, I don't want to get copyrighted for this, but I wish I could
I
pull
didn't
it
see
up.
that. How does a turtle have
That
hair
is
on his
a
head?
very good question. Yep.
Oh my goodness. They made them TikTokers.
It's kind of like an afro. It's kind of like it's kind of like a mullet in the back. But at first, it looks like he would say straight bussin' on God.
He looks like he's about to ask us what our body count is.
Yeah. What's your body count? So I'm not a fan of Seth Rogen. Santa's Inc. was a disgrace to Hollywood. So we'll see where it goes. Could be interesting, but at the very least, I enjoyed the animation. The animation style.
I thought you said that animation style kind of wasn't your liking.
I like that it's
choppy.
It's like it has this look like the frame rate is very low,
Which is on purpose.
Is on purpose.
Maybe it is a low frame rate and it just requires less work.
Yeah, so we'll see. This movie's also got John Cena in it, though I don't know what. I'm assuming he's playing either Rocksteady or Bebop, but I'm not 110% sure.
John Cena.
Yeah, man, he's making big inroads into Hollywood. All right, guys, we're gonna move on and we are gonna get started. So, Peter Pan and Wendy. People have had a lot to say about Peter Pan and Wendy over the last week or two. Disney got sick of it. Disney's like, you know what? We're done.
Why even have the comments on in the first place?
I know,
if
right?
your plan and your genius marketing plan is to turn them off.
Listen, but do you see the bots?
Yeah. Oh, but were they bots? Or were people
what
just...
are you talking about?
Not everyone responds. So, okay, so let me pull up Slack.
Yeah, it was like basically a bunch of like it was all the comments that were like
Every
I love
single
the part
comment,
where
every single comment started with I love the part where X.
Okay, but the problem with that, like claiming that those are bots, is every one of those comments in that format were coming up with different Star Wars and Marvel references to insert into.
Yeah, they weren't. It wasn't
They
like
were
I was reading the
actually
same ones
unique
over.
things
Yeah.
that an AI could not have come up with.
What do you mean? Yes, it can.
It's the context from.
It's so easy.
They're taking lines from Star Wars and Marvel content,
More than just that,
making
but,
a
like,
joke because it's all part of Disney, and Disney wants to make it like a cinematic universe.
You think it's a troll?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
all of them were trolling
It was all
comments.
people
You're
trolling.
really aging out of this whole social media thing, Dane. I don't know what happened to you, but Brett's older than you and he gets it. So
I mean, I just assumed it was people who like that.
Brett
that's just
agreed.
they're
they're not bots.
You're a bot.
What?
Whoa.
Okay, you're shilling for Disney. You're a bot. You're a Disney shill bot.
The point is now, though, that Disney has had enough, and they're like, you know what, we're done. We're censoring this. We're not allowing you to have an
I
opinion
liked this
on this.
one. I went to the IGN trailer instead of the Walt Disney Studios one, and the comments are still on, obviously. And one said, the part where Peter turned into a girl and said, "We're now the lost thems," made me cry uncontrollably. Best movie of all time.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
The part where Captain Hook tells Peter, "I am your father," to join him to the dark side still gives me chills.
So why do you think that Disney would do something like this when they know that so many people are going to get annoyed with your changes in casting, with your drab color palettes, and with making all these mistakes? What could it possibly be beyond just the message that they would do something like this? Well, I would say that it probably has something to do with the California bill that they were talking about in this article. So this is from Bounding Into Comics, and it says, California proposes withholding new tax credits from Hollywood productions unless they set ethnic, racial, and gender diversity goals to develop a plan to achieve them. So does that not fit in right along the lines of like, look, we could make this close to the source material, but why would we do that when there's so much to be gained from making these changes? First of all, they follow Disney's business model, which is envision tomorrow, or it was reimagine tomorrow. But then it falls in line with this. So it says this was a bill in 2022, and we had talked about it slightly.
Yeah.
But there's more detail about it. So it says, so SB 485, which revises the state's film tax credits legislation to introduce a new credit which they could only receive if a given project provided a diversity work plan that includes goals that are broadly reflective of California's population. Do you think that has anything to do with the casting in this movie?
Well, I think it's absurd that California legislation would then translate to the rest of the country. This is the quotas that they come up with for racial and ethnic diversity are based on the population of California.
Though most of
not
the shows,
the population of the nation, which is consuming media that comes almost strictly out of California.
and the shows don't just take place in California. How
And
do
they
you
don't-
make
yeah.
Yellowstone if everybody has to look like
everything-
somebody in California?
Yeah, everything that's set outside of California, that is even filmed outside of California, but is done by Californian studios,
Yeah.
is supposed to reflect the diversity, the racial diversity of California. Like, I mean, I don't even know if that translates because, I mean, I guess that's why Peter Pan is Mexican now, but like,
And why the Little Mermaid is no longer Danish? Was that it was Danish?
well, what really
original-
matters is that she was a redhead.
Yes. Oh God, I have been watching this amazing show called Into the Badlands, and holy crap, the widow, the character the widow in this show. She's not just redheaded representation. She just murks dudes left and right. So people are they're actively attempting to commit gingercide on camera. And she just puts a sword through just tons of people. It's incredible. Everyone should be watching that show right now. That is Brett Recommends for today.
Okay.
Into the Badlands.
Saw you posting a lot about it.
Oh man, I was like, I was going off this weekend about like it's. Imagine like a world where like 90% of the show is action, so you don't have to actually like the story leaves a lot to be desired. Like it's kind of paint by numbers generic. It's got like a couple of like gimmicks, like the idea that it's a dystopian future, but there are no guns. There's like most of the people ride horses, but there's also like broken down cars that people can still drive. So it's got this weird feel to it. But
Is it diverse?
it is, but it feels right in the context of this show. Like for instance, the Baron that the lead character works for, there is it's not as diverse as other places, but it's fairly diverse in racial terms. But then the warriors that work for the widow are all girls. But it makes sense because she's raising female warriors. So they are able to do both, but it's like it wouldn't have made sense if the Baron Quinn had a bunch of women in his guard, because he just doesn't seem like a dude who would employ women or would even see them as a threat, right? But it makes sense that the widow, who is a female warrior, would train them in that way. So that's what I'm saying. It can be done properly. You just have to put like a half an inch of your pen to paper to think about how does this work. And they make it work. But most TV today doesn't do that. So
Thinking about like Peter Pan specifically, it just doesn't make sense that it would be set in the late 19th century,
Yeah.
right? And in England. And it's this like diverse cast of people who are like Black and Mexican and like Asian and all of these different races.
But that's why Disney's shutting off the comments, because pointing it out is bad.
I mean, it's like also using these people of different races as your vector to attack.
Yeah.
In like this culture war, they're being used as the weapon of
Cannon fodder.
choice.
Like
your cannon fodder and outrage marketing, which I'm sure they didn't ask for. I mean, most of them are children, so they're probably, being used as show ponies by their parents anyway.
Do you think that those kids understand the gravity of just how much like they're being dragged into this?
No.
They're the kids being like recorded by their parents for like to like cry in front of movie trailers, just like this one.
Yeah. So you think like but do you think the parents know? Like okay, think about it this way. Like we're like fairly caught up in what you would call the culture war, right? So you take for granted sometimes that you pay attention to things that a lot of other people, like normies, might not pay attention to. I do have friends who don't know that so much of this stuff is going on. They might notice it. Like I had a friend point out, he's like, I swear to God, everyone's gay in commercials these days. He's like and everyone's
gay, and every
race
couple is mixed race.
So he said like he noticed that, but he's not like someone that I would think of as being like in tune to the culture war, right? So do you think that a normie parent who just wants to get their kid a job in Hollywood because their kid wants to be an actor is aware of if all of this stuff is going on?
I'm sure they're aware that their kid has an advantage in Hollywood.
Yeah, well,
based off of their race.
At the very least,
it's not just Hollywood either. It's also academia. So like, you wonder why all these people in academia are like found out to be transracial or whatever. right? Like there are all of these white women in academia pretending that they're black by getting like spray tans and perms and stuff. And they are doing so because their dying industry, just like the entertainment industry, is operating on a completely different rubric to the rest of society. So by taking on that identity, they know it gives them more power.
Yeah. And another thing you could think of is like, at the very least, agents are probably coming to them and saying like, look, your ethnic makeup is very, very in right now. You can get a lot of, like, you will get a lot of work if you enter this industry right now. Like, you have to know that there's
and
agents.
You have like even the most like serviceable level of talent, you know?
Yeah, listen, like you will be hired based on what you look like now, not whether you're good enough for the role or not, which is, like I said, does a disservice to the young actors, right? Like,
not really, it gives them more money.
But I'm saying it does a disservice because they're going to be judged harshly when they didn't ask for that.
It does do a disservice, definitely, because should Halle Bailey have been in any other movie?
Well, Halle Bailey's an established talent already. She's already a Disney kid and a singer.
Knock on 10 doors and ask if they know who Halle Bailey is, and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Halle Berry."
Their kids will know. Don't you think the kids would know?
I knew of her because of her R&B music, but like, I don't know.
What I'm saying is,
a household name.
She could have reached the next level of stardom. I think like truly household, multi-generational name recognition, had they not put her as the star of a Pender movie.
I mean, like, but only so many people are going to get to that level of stardom anyways, right?
But her voice is incredible, and she's good looking. So I mean, she's got all the elements for it.
Maybe she goes to Broadway eventually.
Well, Rachel Zegler is on that way.
Is she?
As well.
To Broadway?
I mean, she's from that.
She came from Broadway.
Yeah,
okay.
she's a singer.
Yeah.
And she's playing Snow White, despite the fact that she's not Snow White. I just think like we're kind of overplaying the way that this is a disservice to minorities, and we're underplaying the way that this is a massive FU to white people.
Oh, I don't think we're underplaying. I think we talk about that plenty here.
99% F white people from them. That's the tone of all of these decisions. Especially
and
when,
tax breaks. And tax breaks.
But the tax breaks are based off of legislators' decisions that are basically F white people.
And like I said, if people wonder where the incentive comes from. So like the activists in the production department, the activists who are in the hiring department, the people who are working as casting directors, right? They might have activists there. You might have activists directors. You might have activists actors, but then you have to wonder, like, how does it get through? Well, that's because even if the money people, who are probably not activists, money people want to make money, are incentivized financially, that's how you get the next step of that accomplished. You make it financially beneficial for them to hire on activist principles.
Well, it's more of like a penalty if you don't.
Yeah. Yep.
My thing is
an incentive.
If actors don't want to, comment on this and be like, hey, this is kind of messed up. Like, I don't care then.
Yeah.
Just lose all your jobs. What do I care for?
Yeah, the kids are unfairly, I guess, being opened up to a lot of criticism from the public, but I don't think that they're even the ones getting criticized. They're being used as human shields by the executives.
People are criticizing Disney as a whole, not the actors per se. Like, I haven't heard I don't even know the name of the kid playing Peter Pan, and I haven't heard.
That's the thing. He's totally irrelevant to the project, as well as Yara Shahidi playing Tinkerbell. These people are totally irrelevant to what's more important to Disney, which is the message. We're using this as the vehicle for the message, and you're merely an accessory to that.
Yep. And I guess
it's beyond the message at this point. It's a game plan. Yep. Before this, I used to work in corporate America, and I was very, very, very explicit. By the way, in a company very dominated by Hispanic people that are not typically like woke liberal women, like they're just not.
They're not awfuls.
Yeah, but I was very explicitly told, it's like, pay, you do great work, and we'll compensate you, but we will always like hire women over you. Like you're like enjoy this.
Enjoy what we're giving you, peasant.
Enjoy your spot in life, because this is where you get. But they were like,
and then what incentive do you have to perform higher if you know that you're going to be held at a double standard anyway? Like,
I mean, that's when you send a sassy email to Tim Pool and get hired.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure there were tons of white kids that auditioned to play Peter Pan, and there were tons of white girls that auditioned to play Tinkerbell here. But it's all for show, because they know that anyone who is not white has an advantage over them, and if they point it out, they're racist.
And the most annoying part is then for years the narrative will be spun that it's actually the opposite. And that's the
Yara
insidious
Shahidi
part.
earned her place, and that's what really colorblind casting looks like.
But not just that, but that she outdid everyone else. That's even worse, because then they say you're both the bad person for thinking it goes the other way, while provably being not true.
Yeah,
so
it's unfalsifiable is the thing.
You
and
can't
you're literally using this young mestizo child as your human shield for outrage marketing. Like,
basically,
he's literally taking the bullets for you.
At least
it's actually gross.
At least Mindy Kaling is an adult who made the decision herself
also,
to do that.
I wanted to read this other comment from the trailer. The part where Peter Pan said to Tinkerbell, "You want a line of pixie dust?" All the trans kids are doing it. Sent shivers down my spine.
See, that no way an AI came
You
up with
can't
that.
silence people when they want to make funnies online.
I mean, I've been exposed as a out-of-touch boomer, and I accept it.
See, when I didn't think of it as bots as much as trolls, like as people who
Which are not the same thing.
Could it have been a bunch of people with like multiple accounts?
But a lot
Perhaps.
were positive. A lot were like,
what? I did not see any positive.
I saw the negatives after you guys told me, but the ones that were in the top of my feed were all seemingly non-ironic. So maybe a bunch of people responded positively in that line, and then the internet had its way. It was like, okay, well, we'll yuck your yum.
Fair enough. I thought it was very, very interesting how they turned the comments off like a week late, almost like a week.
I mean,
later.
you know the reaction that you're about to get.
Yeah, like they should have just left him off to begin with. Then the dislikes and the turned off comments would have all gone into one story, and it would have been fine.
Did they do this? Like, did they take a vote? Like, who wants to leave the comments on? Say aye.
That's an interesting question. It would be interesting to figure out.
I just don't get this.
It would be interesting to figure out like who actually has the final say.
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing they don't call Bob Iger directly and say, "Hey, do you want us to turn the comments off?" Though that would be a funny conversation to happen.
Exactly.
Like Bob Iger, he's like in the middle of like some big meeting. He's like, "I don't freaking care. This movie's a write-off. It's freaking Disney Plus."
Like, I've never even heard of this one.
By the way, I have a theory as to why Disney and companies like Disney in particular just haven't taken the hit that this shit isn't popular. Mm-hmm. I think that those companies, they plan so far ahead that a movie like this was already, like, the budget and the script and everything was set out like 5 years ago, and it'll be like 2 years and they'll be like, oh, this doesn't, as the kids say, doesn't slap anymore.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know about
this
5 years, but yeah,
anymore.
yeah, it's no longer busting. Like,
no longer busting.
I mean, that's what happens when you have a company the size of Disney, which is just basically it's like a Titanic. You can't just It's not. It's
can't
not
steer
agile.
that, yeah.
It's not agile. So yep.
Gentlemen, it seems that we're cap currently.
but then Warner Brothers is like, hold my beer. I'm just gonna cancel this $90 million movie just because I don't want people to see it. Imagine if Bob Iger was like, look, I looked at the first cut of that Tinkerbell movie and just oh no, we are relegating that one to the halls of Disney. We are not letting that one out of our sight.
Dude, that's why my tinfoil hat Dane here. That's why my conspiracy theory is like, what if the Batgirl movie was that it was just so based? It was like based out of recognition. They're like, this is unwatchable.
No, there was actually an article that came out today that says that Zaslav, like they've restructured their corporate headquarters, like their corporate hierarchy, so that like incentives, like bonuses for executives, are based on how much of the budget they slash and save. So he gets a bonus based on how much he cuts out of the budget. So I think he's just like,
well, what the hell is this Lord of the Rings shit then?
That's
not going to make money.
Capitalism.
I know, it is basically late stage capitalism. Good for Zaslav. Make your money, King. We got some super chats there, Mary.
Sanity Claus said, how progressive of Disney to make a movie about a creepy old man chasing kids around an island. Will the Royals, the Clintons, etc. be making any cameos? I hear they like islands. My comment just before they locked.
That would be good. It'd be what would it be called? It's like it can't be called Schindler's List, but it could be called Epstein's List for sure. We could call it Epstein's List.
By the way, does anyone have an adrenochrome hookup? I'm 33. I gotta start taking care of myself.
Plugs in the chat.
Let me know.
Stacey Dash probably has one.
Yep.
Boosted Yogi said, I'm with Mary, prefer the birthday suit. I'm not saying I prefer that. I'm saying men prefer that.
He's quoting you, so.
We'll debate that later.
Understood.
Isaac Martinez said, who would have thought a boxer and a bear on drugs would beat an ant and a wasp?
Yeah.
I did.
They're all battling it out.
Yep.
Lane said, miss you guys. Here's to a good show.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Llama said, if anyone is Snow White, it's Mary.
Yep. All right, let's
transparent.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back.
Okay.
All right, guys. So Dungeons and Dragons, if you were excited for the movie, I know we've got a lot of Dungeons and Dragons fans in the chat. Well, your excitement, you can feel it leaving your body as I read this headline. The Dungeons and Dragons movie intentionally emasculates its leading men. Does that shock anyone here?
I mean, is that what they said?
Here's the quote. So it says, I'll read the whole quote in its entirety. It says, I'll read it from the start of the headline so you understand the context. It says, while speaking with Variety, Daly and Goldstein discussed how Michelle Rodriguez's Holga the Barbarian and Sophie Lillis's characters tend to engage in the front lines of battle compared to their male party members. Quote, this was not an attempt at wokeness on our part, Goldstein said, and as Daly elaborated, saying, swear to God, it wasn't. We like that Holga is the bruiser that does the dirty work. And he doesn't get his hands dirty. We also love emasculating leading men.
Cool.
So that's in the actual quote. We love emasculating leading men.
How much disposable income do feminist beta males have? That literally every single aspect and product of American culture is geared towards them. Like how balling out of control are these people? Like, do they just buy everything?
They explained that they wrote the men that way because they find it funny and fresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really, it hasn't been that way since like the last decade and a half.
And they also aim to do something similar with Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
We like our male heroes to be challenged and not simply heroic. Oh, do you mean like mentally challenged?
I like how they point out like you can't be both heroic and challenged. Like that's literally part of the hero's journey.
Literally,
to overcome a challenge.
Be heroic is
you
to
have
be
to be challenged.
What are you even talking
Exactly.
about? They'll just come up with the most like mental gymnastics. They'll like do like a whole PowerPoint presentation on why we shouldn't have actually masculine male characters.
Every movie now
when
is
it's just the fact that they like being degraded. And
every movie right now is gonna be a black woman experiencing something. It's gonna be like, girl, and suddenly like the villain's like, I've been defeated by your braveness and boldness, and it's done.
Also, I would like to ask them this question. If this isn't woke to them, what the hell is woke? Like, I would love to hear these guys.
What are your standards of wokeness?
I would love to hear these guys' descriptions of what woke actually is. If that's not wokeness, then what the hell
They
is?
noted that they had had experiences with a couple male actors in the past who refused to look weak or vulnerable in a film. Oh, well, how dare they not want to be intentionally demeaned as their characters? They had the opposite problem with Chris Pine.
This is his fault. This is his fault. He's like,
plays Edgin the Bard.
He's like, emasculate me, please. Emasculate.
Chris
really
Pine
cooks.
reportedly enjoyed making himself look as bad as possible, almost to a fault.
Dude, it's
to the point where the team had to remind him he had to look heroic in some scenes. This is literally humiliation fetish.
I'm not. No,
this is a male feminist humiliation fetish
it's
where
all
he
over
gets
there.
off on looking incompetent and weak.
I swear, when I watch movies and television shows that do this to the male actors, it feels like they like it.
Yeah.
It feels like they're enjoying being put in their place. Like either because of it's an emasculation fetish that they like, or because they literally have so much guilt for being a successful male actor in Hollywood. They're like, yes, please make me look bad. I need it so badly. Like it's embarrassing and it's pathetic.
They said he let the directors rein him in not to go overboard on his quest to be anti-heroic.
Don't let it shrivel up too far, Chris. We still need you to.
Oh my god. Dude.
It's actually embarrassing. Like,
It also makes me think of pro wrestling, where it used to be a thing, and it's still somewhat a thing in the industry, that like if you were a top guy in wrestling, if you were a Hulk Hogan or a Stone Cold Steve Austin, remember those are outcomes that are decided before the match, right? Your everything to a wrestler is your character, meaning you can't lose too many matches, otherwise your character starts to lose steam.
Yeah.
And those top performers protected their rep with everything they had. Hulk Hogan had it in his contracts that he could only lose so many matches.
Nice.
Like, these actors need to start being like, look, I will be in your weird beta male movie, but I will not be, you can hire another guy to be the beta male in this movie. I am not going to do that.
I mean, if all the men in movies now, all the male characters get emasculated and degraded and made to look incompetent, pathetic, weaklings who panic about everything and let women do the dirty work, what is a beta male anymore? If that's the norm,
It's the standard, huh?
we're
Also, to be
literally
fair-
redefining the standard of what alpha and beta even means. What would a beta male be then?
Suppose
And what
it-
would an alpha male
Yeah.
be?
It's maybe the alpha male part of Chris Pine is that he's actually convinced them to pay him more to do less work because the women are doing all the fighting. So he's making more money than the women by 70 cents on the dollar, like they say. And he's like, look, I can't do anything about the gender wage gap,
And
but I
that's-
can help you with women looking strong and independent.
What's
woman.
weirder is like Chris Pine and every
Okay.
mainstream male movie star right now, they're paid to look jacked, look traditionally
Yeah.
masculine, have facial hair, have that strong brow ridge, look,
And they've got the jawline.
have the jawline,
Yep.
like look chatted up, but act like
Yeah.
a
And then get beat up by a
beta weakling.
90-pound chick.
It's like that's what makes it all the more rich. Like you still have to do all the work before the movie.
Yeah. So it's
And
like
the women have to do nothing.
You have to get in shape. The women, they're like, could you put on like 5 pounds of muscle? They're like, did you just tell me that I don't look good just the way I am? I am going to get you in trouble, good sir.
It's like there has to be some contrast.
In what way?
Every single movie is this. Every single.
Well, that's why Top Gun Maverick stood out so much.
The Last of Us, from what I can tell from your reviews, is just
It's shit, yeah.
I mean, it's gay fanfic at this point. This movie
Well, there's
is
several
like,
detours
It's shipper
into-
bait,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah, this movie's like, God, aren't men stupid?
Basically.
If women can only look heroic and strong in comparison to men who are failures at their job, then you're saying something bad about both sides.
What other movies have we seen lately where they've done that? Like,
Done what?
where the men have been heavily emasculated. I was thinking about like when we saw Black Adam. Obviously, Black Adam is not emasculated, but
He's also kind of not human.
the girl's brother is definitely a doofus. Like he's definitely the fat guy who's like he's definitely like comic relief. Sarah Shahi's character's brother, I think it's her brother.
Yeah.
And that like he's a doofus, but so many of these characters, it's like you don't even need to actually come up with a list, because I bet you if we picked any movie that's come out in the last several months, you could find at least a couple of characters in each of them where this is the thing. And it's especially prevalent in fantasy, sci-fi, because those are the genres that seem to delve into that get the most audience that are younger, right? So they're bringing
Do
in.
they anymore? I mean, really, they don't.
I get by terms younger. I would have
Especially
to look at
something like Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think this is going to
It'll be
like
millennial,
bringing
millennial
in the
bait.
Zoomers, you know?
Yeah, it'll be millennial bait. So look,
But at this point, I think this is. I used to think that Zoomers were all based and millennials were the ones doing this. stuff. Dude, I think it's you. I think Zoomers are the ones that are like
It's both of them.
insane, out of control.
It's both of them. It's millennials and Zoomers. It's mind virus gone wild.
No, but all the young, Twitch streamers that are they/thems are Zoomers.
And are they thems? When I think of Twitch, I just think of like titty streamers, and
That's a section of it, definitely.
the men are basically
They're just
like,
licking mics.
all like in a hive mind, like Aiden Ross.
Okay, I literally picked a random date from last year to see if I could find. Okay, the movie Ambulance. The movie Ambulance is actually a perfect example of this. The main girl she's the most annoying girl boss. It's Isa Gonzalez, and she plays this like emotionless girl boss, and her like the guy she works in the ambulance with is both emotional and creepy. So he's both highly emotional when things are like when the tough gets going and the going gets really, really creepy.
To the women who encourage this, all of these stereotypes about men being perpetuated in movies, but also like
The Northman?
the people who want this in real life. To those women like who hurt you, because like why would your
Hey, that's my
desire
line.
literally who hurt you, like your desire for safety has steamrolled men flat to the point where they're ineffectual, and you would rather be like managed by the mommy state. Like,
Government.
what man hurt you that made you think men are so dangerous that they need to be neutralized?
I don't even know if it's
by,
a
like-
specific man. I think it's just that these narratives have gone on for so long now. There was somebody talking about it on Twitter this weekend where they said a lot of women have been shamed out of wanting to have families. Like they to the point where like they're denying their biological desires to have children and start a family because they're told for generic reasons that you need to girl boss.
It's not even shame. It's literally like fear of for survival. Like if you think about it, every time that a woman voices that she wants to have a family or get married in this culture, she's told, oh, but what if the man you marry dies in a car accident? Or what if he leaves you for another woman? Or what if he is secretly gay?
But they're
What
also
if he-
shamed. They're also shamed by
What if,
women.
what if he
who tell
goes
them
to
not do that.
jail? What if this happens? What if that happens? Where you end up alone and helpless. And you have to girl boss as a backup plan in case, or, for the inevitable outcome in which you get abandoned and left for dead.
What are you gonna do? You're not gonna be fat and live
During
with
the
cats?
literally the safest time in human history to
At
be
the
alive.
safest time in human history. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the most comfortable time. Yeah. When
Unless you're
there's
living
never
in-
been like a bigger social safety net, right?
Yeah.
But also like there are some women encouraging this, I'm sure.
Yeah. In Hollywood, every article written when these women do these characters, it's always like it's so against the grain. It's as like, and that's the stuff that bothers me. It's not the stuff. It's not when they say like, "Oh my God, I got to play this strong, independent woman." It's when they're like, "Because that's so not normal." As if the last 12 years didn't just happen.
I mean, if you need to constantly assert that you're a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, I think that you are weak, dependent, and do need a man.
Yeah.
And I also think that's not a bad thing, but you denying it all the time is
Unbecoming.
It's unbecoming.
Well, I'm saying like, in what scenario are they even allowed to want to have families anymore?
No, but
Celebrities are allowed to because they've already got their career and they can afford
if you
nannies.
wait until you're 40.
Oh, yeah.
Do it
High
via
risk pregnancy.
surrogacy. And also, you have to constantly affirm that other people shouldn't feel like they have to do the same thing, even though you're just living your individual life.
It's not for me. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, they say.
Yeah, it's not for
Dude,
everyone.
There's a show called The Politician, and it's S-tier progressive propaganda. It's next level. They have some propaganda on that show that's so next level that I can't even say it on air.
Where is this?
It's on Netflix. And the
Haven't heard of
protagonist of that show is a bisexual, like, balls to the wall Democrat who is in a polyamorous relationship, whose mother is the governor of California.
What?
And
Is this some kind of like dystopian future?
It's you know how some
Dystopian
people
future of, like,
think
next election cycle. Yeah.
do you know how some people think that Hollywood just prepares you for whatever psyop they're gonna have in the future? This is legitimately that. I mean, tinfoil thing. Yeah. And
well, it's normalizing it so that it seems.
And they have a scene in that movie because he's polyamorous and he's despite the fact that he's a dork, he's like crushing. And
another lie.
He has a fiance and the other chick in the throuple, and the other chick in the throuple gets pregnant, and it becomes this conversation about how his fiance wants to have the child and the other one doesn't. It's like
the one who is pregnant with the child doesn't?
I think they're both pregnant. Like this guy apparently just like super fertile, and it becomes a conversation
implying that men in polycules have a sperm count capable of reproducing.
They did a throuple episode of the show Elementary. The show all the way back in like 2013 or 14, they did an episode about a throuple. In that show. Also, I do want to point out, like, I came to a realization over the weekend how easy it would be to fix this stuff. If you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the character of Xander, okay, no powers, he not in college, he lives aimlessly, he doesn't really have a purpose other than the fact that he's brave when they need him to be brave, right? But he's never talked down to regularly by Buffy or Willow. Buffy, who is a slayer; Willow, who is a literal witch; Giles, who is the Slayer's watcher. All of these people have powers and abilities and drive the plot forward because they're part of this. How they take care of the vampires and the demons, right? And Xander's just kind of there. But you never feel as if he's being talked down to because the writers knew enough not to have the other characters, at least not on a regular basis, talk down to him as if he wasn't important.
We need to tax snark.
Yeah, well,
sort of like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where Sokka is not a bender, but all the rest of them are benders. They still give him plenty of scenes where he's able to demonstrate his competence.
Exactly. In the show, Xander, he will go out with them and fight vampires and demons, even though he's not good at it. But the point is, they show his bravery. And that matters. And the characters don't say like they will have Cordelia push back and be like, well, you're like there are episodes where like he kind of gets like Cordelia's like basically like pushing back on him, saying like, you don't matter, you're not important, what are you even here for? But it's actually done in a way that makes you feel bad for him because he's bringing about his own self-doubt, but you don't get that feeling from Buffy or the other characters. If anything, it's Cordelia, who also doesn't have powers and isn't inherently important to the cause, who makes those comments about him. The writers knew enough to treat him with respect. All these douchey writers, like on Dungeons and Dragons, have to do is write with respect. They won't do it.
All right. Chris Pine's beta ass is on board with it.
It's probably the only job he can get. It's like, hey, you want a job?
No, he is a big name actor. He gets plenty
is he
of work. Yes.
a minority and or a woman?
It doesn't matter. He's a leading man.
It does matter. What do you mean?
Long gone are the days of like Richard Gere and Harrison Ford and like men who have hair on their forearms.
Yeah.
Now we have like Zac Efron and Tom Holland.
Zac Efron is like jacked now and like super built.
He's always been jacked. Like, this is probably the best he can get. Yeah. Is to cook.
I mean, like he was in that movie. I wanted to review it before. Now I already forgot the name of it. Where he plays the spy and is like, and he meets this lady at like a restaurant, and the whole movie takes place there. He also did that movie, The Contractor, where he's like an ex-Navy SEAL or something like that. He doesn't just do stuff like this. What I would guess is that the paycheck was just too good. Like he looked at the amount of money and he's like, sure. If anything, it speaks to the power of money and what that will allow you to put yourself through. Like back in the day, the women degraded themselves by being naked on screen for money. Now the men are like, yes, of course you can treat me like an absolute pathetic failure of a human being.
But he's not even reluctant about it.
That is
like he's the one taking it too far.
He's like, debase me further. Debase me further. Mm-hmm. All right, we got some super chats there.
Jacob Adler said, I desperately need a white pill movie recommendation, please.
Puss in Boots.
Boots. Last Wish.
Haywire. Did you ever see Haywire with
no.
Law Abiding Citizen? What else did I watch?
I'm gonna watch Cocaine Bear. It looks fun.
It is fun.
Also, Ryan Reynolds says he doesn't think there's going to be a Free Guy sequel. He says, does everything need a sequel? Go watch Free Guy. Free Guy was a lot of fun.
Does everything need a sequel? No.
But Cocaine Bear does.
Saverick said, imagine needing slaves of consumption forever.
Imagine
Being Disney.
Yeah.
Disco Jensen said, looking forward to John Wick Chapter 4. Mindless plot, elegantly choreographed action, and exotic locations. Thoughts? See, the mindless plot is where you lose me. Because, like, that means that there are no stakes to this elegantly choreographed action you're talking about. And there's also no reason why they're at any of the locations they're at.
There's an argument to be made that the plot has definitely, like, it's gotten too convoluted and out there since the first one, which was essentially like a very, very good revenge story. And it needs
to be straightforward because I just assume that I'm not getting it. And
the very first one is a very clear-cut story of revenge and grief. And as it goes on, it becomes more and more convoluted, and the style takes over for the substance. I don't mind it because it is some of the most elegantly crafted action you're ever going to see on screen. I do think that the last action scene in John Wick Chapter 3 went on a little too long for my liking, but that's, if I'm being honest, that's what I'm liking about the show Into the Badlands. Like, there is a plot there, right? There's a character named MK who has like this mysterious power where whenever he gets cut, he basically gets taken over and he can like destroy people, and they're kind of exploring, like trying to figure out how to harness that power. And there's the story of the warring barons in this dystopian future, but you know, I'm mainly there to marvel at the fact that Orla Brady is 61 going on 30 years old, and watch the action scenes, which are really, really well done, and watch the Widow just murk dudes and keep it alive for redheads on screen everywhere. So,
Potatoes for Seamus sent us $1 without a message. Thank you. Deadfoot said, Dane, did you get around to Hogwarts? Also, I'm starting to fear the D&D movie more so than it already was.
As you should.
Yeah. I haven't had the chance to play Hogwarts.
Yep.
Or reboot that.
George Jones III said, the John Halo show, aka Master Cheeks, broke me.
Oh, man. Luckily, we won't have to review season 2 of Halo.
There's no way.
I mean, no one's even going to watch it.
Dude, I literally could not get past the first 5 seconds.
The biggest compliment I was able to give that show was I was like, wow, they did that whole opening action sequence in the day. They didn't cheap out and do it at night like they always do because it's easier to do visual effects at night. They did it in the bright white light of day, and it's noticeable. It's noticeable.
Bobcat said, I'm officially another year older, gonna kick back and watch some Cannonball Run.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
How old are you? That's the question.
Jimbo, yeah, leave your ages in the chat. Leave all of your identifying information.
Mother's maiden name.
Yeah. Social security number.
Jimbo said, I think D&D is courting the Disney adult dink audience.
Dude,
I don't know what the dink means.
Dual income, no kids.
Disposable income, smaller target, higher ticket prices, but even that model is failing.
Dual income, no kids, dink.
Woo! Thank you.
Okay.
So that actually has a... Woo!
That's so confusing. I mean, why would you...
if...
A very simple formula! Everybody's a suspect!
There's going to be a new Scream movie this week. If anyone...
You're not watching.
If anyone can point out to me which Scream of the screams from that movie that you hear at the end there, I would be very, very impressed.
If they point it out, are you going to actually watch the movie, or are you just going to talk about the old ones?
Oh, I just love the old ones.
Okay. Mr. Toad said, how Peter Pan and Wendy answers the question of what it means to grow up will determine if it's a good movie with woke decorations or a shallow Trojan horse with a woke core.
My guess is shallow Trojan horse.
What if it's like, you never grow up?
I mean, isn't the point of it that Wendy is like the only girl that most of the Lost Boys have ever seen? Like they've never seen a girl before.
They're all incels.
Yeah. Is that the point?
Like I mean, I thought like she was like a mothering figure to them because they'd never seen.
Tinkerbell is. I guess. I mean, she's not a human, but Tinkerbell's female.
Ooh, somebody says they're 364 years old. We got some old people in the chat.
Incredible.
That's incredible.
But who? Oh my God! I remembered, guys. I'm so excited. I remembered. Okay, so me and Chris Poole were looking at the analytics for the channel, and we found that one viewer watches Pop Culture Crisis in their Nintendo Wii.
Yes, I would love to know who that is.
And I need to know who this person is.
Who
Shout
are you?
out to that person.
Like,
You're
did they change the
crazy.
channel like this?
It's like they're playing like Wii tennis. Is like, oh wait, Pop Culture Crisis is on, and then they take an hour to load up Pop Culture Crisis on their Wii.
I love it. Let's hold off on the rest and we will come back, Mary.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on. All right, guys. So I didn't watch Grey's Anatomy. Wasn't my thing.
Kind of a girly show.
Yeah, not my thing. I do, however, love the movie Romeo Must Die, and that does, in fact, have the actor Isaiah Washington in it, who has announced his retirement because he says that the useful idiots in Hollywood have won.
Yeah, he's quitting acting officially. This is giving like when someone makes their profile picture black and then makes their bio just like goodbye and says that they're leaving social media forever, when in reality, you know, they're coming back the next week.
This is a thing that would happen in skating, like as a subculture for skating, because skating becomes such a part of your identity, right? Like your friend group is made up of skaters. Well, there's always that person who's like really negative, and they go on social media to announce to everyone that they're quitting, which is not a thing. Like you could stop for 5 years.
What it means is, I'm gonna quit if you don't beg me to stay.
Yes.
Guys.
So, and that's essentially what happened here, because
Yes.
as soon as he got done, he got such a positive reaction from people, because he's not a huge fan of the socialists or the communists.
I love his tweet though. He said, those who have been following and witnessing my journey here on Twitter since 2011.
I did wonder why they edited it.
all know that I have fought the good fight, but it seems that the haters, provocateurs, and the useful idiots have won. It's giving Trump.
I love
The haters and losers.
I love
Based.
it.
I'm
Guys,
no longer interested in the back and forth regarding a color construct that keeps us human beings divided, nor am I interested in politics or anything vitriolic.
Yet he describes himself as a Frederick Douglass conservative.
I will be
Based.
traveling this great country before it falls into socialism and then
Based.
communism. Until then, know that this Frederick Douglass conservative will keep his powder dry and loves you all. What does that mean?
guys, do you?
Keeps his powder dry?
I have no idea what that means.
I don't
Guys,
get it.
Grey's Anatomy is the most unhinged show that has ever aired on television. Grey's Anatomy is mass psychosis for women.
Really?
It's a show about doctors having sex every possible second with any possible person.
Even
and
patients?
especially patients, completely disregarding anyone's health, and everyone dies. The doctors die, the patients die because they're all having sex, and it's insane. And
They die, they come back to life, and then they die again.
and then it's the doctors being like, oh, I'm just so sad about how this patient died of a completely unpreventable thing. You never treated the patient. You let him die.
You were having
because
sex.
You were cheating on your husband for the 83rd time this scene.
It sounds like it was even crazier behind the scenes. I read about this incident with Isaiah Washington and Patrick Dempsey.
Good old Patrick. Hey, he's a scream.
This is in the tell-all about Grey's Anatomy behind the scenes. So it says it sort of exploded. They got into an arguing match, and before you know it, they were physically fighting. I was standing there in Video Village. I'm like 6 feet 4 inches. I'm bigger than both of them, but I didn't really jump in right away because I'm like, I don't know if I want to get involved. And Isaiah Washington, for whatever reason that day, took that the wrong way and went after Patrick Dempsey. I guess he felt disrespected that he and the crew had been waiting. Patrick was late. He went after Patrick, pushed him up against the wall, and said, "You can't talk to me the way that you talk to that little beep TR." So he called him the F slur, the homophobic F word.
It's not good.
And everyone knew that TR Knight was gay, so he probably was saying that as a targeted insult. And this was back in 2007, which I thought was acceptable back then. But he had to apologize at the Golden Globes, in which he said the F slur again in his apology.
It's giving Papa John's vibe when he's like,
I love it. I love the vibes. So yeah, he apologized, and eventually ABC just fired him, and he was no longer on Grey's Anatomy anymore for that reason.
Own a damn box.
So
Matt
sounds
just
like he's
wants to own the
pretty
streets.
based, but kind of unhinged.
A little bit.
So he's saying that Corsicana, birth control time,
Corsicana is
is
about
the last
Bass Reeves.
time he's going to be on screen.
So, but he then started a GoFundMe so that he could make a movie about Bass Reeves, who is
No, he said he was leaving Hollywood, and then he's
know.
not leaving Hollywood.
Shocking, I tell you. But the Bass Reeves movie, like he wants to make a movie based on Bass Reeves, who was he was the first black U.S. Marshal. But the movie Corsicana has him as Bass Reeves in it, so it's like he wants to start the Bass Reeves cinematic universe. Let's go!
He's just really obsessed with this historical figure for some reason.
Well, only a couple of other people have played him. It's really funny. There's a scene in the show Justified where they talk about how they need to make a Bass Reeves movie, and then just like a couple years later, they ended up doing that. So
he said, after seeing the incredible positive response to my recent announcement of retirement from the entertainment industry, it became clear that I have been operating outside of the traditional Hollywood system successfully for the last 15 years. So why stop now with over 5 million views and counting with my February 28th Twitter post? It seems that if I receive just $1 from 5 million people, then I will have more than enough capital to continue independently producing my own Bass Reeves movie projects for a fall 2023 shooting schedule in Arkansas and Oklahoma. So Elon Musk is going to be kicking himself for putting view counts on tweets, because this is making him think that 5 million people would give him money.
he really believes it's like there's a very famous saying in like comics Twitter. It's like, look, you can't spend likes.
It's currently,
you especially can't spend views in this case.
His GoFundMe page right now has a goal of $1 million, and he has made $11,084.
In how long?
When did he put it up? 4 days ago.
Oof.
He put it up 4 days ago. So
how much money?
He's made $11,000 about.
I'm gonna donate $1.
Yeah.
look at
Why is the person-
fans of Pop Culture Crisis. I too am retiring.
I don't think there are enough people who are enthusiastic about the first black deputy marshal, Bass Reeves, to fund a project like this. And 5 million is not that much.
No.
Why?
To make a movie. Anyway, one of the top donations was $1,000.
Why?
Someone really wants this to happen.
Why is the default personality? It's probably him donating himself. Why is the default personality of every single American a 14-year-old girl with incredible depression? Sir, you are what, like 40, 50? I cannot believe you just did guys, I'm leaving.
I'm out of here.
And now all of these people are saying, like, thank you for taking a stand against demonic Hollywood.
Well, look, those are the words that sell. Like, those are the words.
It's
like,
true,
those
but
are
I
the
wonder if he
buzzwords
feels that way.
Like when people say that's like, and I get like a bit. I don't even like saying woke, and we have to say it all the time because it is sometimes like when we talk about Dungeons and Dragons, is there a word that more succinctly describes a writer's behavior like that? There really isn't. I don't like saying
Someone
it.
commented
It's cheesy.
saying he only made the ridiculous announcement to see if anyone was listening. I bet if someone offered him a part right now, he would take it. But if he is retired, ain't nobody missing him.
I'm gonna miss him. Okay, I'm gonna miss him.
I like to say progressive because there is a political faction that's progressives and they spout all this. I think woke is like a catch-all term to save progressives from taking the heat from their worst ideologues. And we should more specifically being like, this is the end result of progressives being absolutely ridiculous.
It also sounds like he was part of that progressive cabal for the time, at least, that he was on Grey's Anatomy, because it says after he got into this confrontation and called his co-star a slur, It says you could see Isaiah's pupils go wide. Like, what did I do? It was quiet,
that
and
clip of
everyone
the-
had to leave the set.
Like that clip on the guy saying who he mouths the N-word on stream, and like you see his just whole soul leave his body because he knows his career,
Trainwrecks TV
his
one,
career, his career is over. I don't
Is this
remember.
Twitch streamer named Trainwrecks who like said the N-word while he was rapping like with a song, and you could just see. I'm pretty sure it was Trainwrecks, or maybe it was somebody else. I don't know.
Also, to be fair, beyond just Isaiah Washington in this movie Corsicana, it does have Stacey Dash, so I support anything with Stacey Dash in it. She's
Yeah.
looking mighty fine for like 56 years old, ladies and gentlemen. She played.
Moisturizes. She has the adrenochrome.
She's in her own lane.
that moisturizer that was like made of like baby foreskins or something.
Oh my god.
What was that?
She's
Like Gwyneth Paltrow was
Gwyneth
peddling or
on
somebody.
like Ellen, and everyone in the crowd's like, "Yeah, baby, like Tibetan
They
baby
were like,
foreskin."
all the confused liberal white women were like, "Yeah, that's great."
They were like, and she's like, "It's made from like the foreskin of Tibetan children." They're like, "Yeah."
Dude, in one of our first live episodes, I remember saying, like, you can convince these people to any form of violence, genocide, or whatever, and if they got their Beyonce saying it, they'd be like, "Yes, queen."
Yeah.
Look, let's look at Stacey Dash's video from the other day. I just want to watch
Let's.
it.
Yeah, she looks great.
I miss being young. Your 20s are great. You're down for
She might be filtering this.
she's
but
filtered
she
up.
looks
She's
great.
filtered,
They're
but
like,
still.
You want to go? You're like, I'll go. You don't even know where you're going. You're like, I'll move, dude. I'll set my apartment on fire. What do you want to
cute.
do?
So
I miss
it's
you.
really a travesty that she wasn't invited to do that Super Bowl
We
commercial
need her.
with Alicia Silverstone.
We need her on this show.
We
We
do.
need
Stacey Dash?
Stacey Dash on this show. She's based.
That would be hell.
She's so based. She voted for Mitt Romney.
Stacey Dash,
Mitt Romney.
if you're watching this right now,
Which she is.
send us an email.
Like she voted for
Slide in the
Obama.
DMs.
She voted for Obama in 08 and then went full neocon in 2012. And to be like
You're not even allowed to be a neocon in Hollywood, I think.
you kind of are. I think
I mean,
no,
that's the
yeah,
reason
no, 'cause that's
she's
what Kevin
not-
that's what Kevin Costner is. Kevin Costner's a neocon.
Right, but isn't that the reason she wasn't invited for the Super Bowl commercial? Like, she's obviously
Maybe.
the person that
I
you
mean,
would invite.
I do like the idea of her like wanting to go on there and they're like, sorry, you can't. And Alicia Silverstone says, fine, I'll go and hang out with her after. Like, I like the
Yeah.
idea that maybe Alicia Silverstone couldn't get her on the commercial, but they're still friends.
The last
right?
time I saw them like taking pictures and like filming TikToks together was in November last year. So Alicia Silverstone doesn't really care about
people who are
political
asking
stuff.
people who are asking Stacey Dash played Dion from Clueless. She's also going to be in that movie, the Corsicana movie with Isaiah Washington. But I want to get I'm trying to get me some Stacey Dash on this show.
Seriously.
She looks very good for 56 years old. Very good. Also, that means that she was born in 67 or whatever. So she was 28 when she was playing a teenager in Clueless. I love it.
What's the power rankings of desired guests for Pop Culture Crisis? Who's number one?
Chet Hanks is
Chet Hanks is
definitely
number
up
one.
there.
Costs money though.
I'm glad we haven't changed.
I reached,
Core values.
I sent a message to Samita Armstrong. I have not heard back yet. I would like to have her on the show. You know, there's a bunch.
We
of them.
definitely have a running list
Yeah.
that we're always adding to.
But Stacey Dash, if you watch this show, please just send me a message.
okay. Super chats.
Yeah, we got some there.
Disco Jensen said there are ESG guidelines that production houses use in current film and story. Story takes a backseat
Top
to
G.
casting decisions and messaging.
I was thinking about it the other day. Like this, like it used to be kind of a golden age. Like I was watching the bonus features for like season 6 of House, and they talked about how like when the show got big, when you get a show that gets to be that popular, right, you can make a wish list of all the actors you'd like to work with because once it becomes popular, they're all going to want to be on the show. And they listed all these actors that were just big names, right? Like now they don't get to do that anymore. They don't get to be like, I want to work with this person. They can be like, okay, I want to work with this person, but are they the right age, sex, race, they have to meet all these boxes. They have to check all these boxes before
Unless
they're
they're
even
a
allowed
legacy member.
I mean,
know?
yeah, but even then they're like, oh, sorry, I would love to have this person on there, but we need to fit a trans non-binary person of color in on this role, and I'm sorry, but you can't be there.
Dude, how busy
there's
must
no
Jordan
black
B.
Margot
Anthony be?
Robbie, you know? There's no minority Margot Robbie.
They'll
There's
find one.
nothing
Like an equivalent to Margot to her. Is that kind of what Jenna Ortega is becoming in a way? Like or like those.
Do you think? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like she
We'll have
could
to see.
she could be there. Chat, that'd be interesting. Chat, do you think is there like a minority equivalent to Margot Robbie? I bet you there is, and we're
Certainly
just
not her age and
how. So I'm thinking, yeah, because like Halle
Her
Berry's
status.
Halle Berry's older.
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana's good. That's.
I know this
she's,
chick.
She's a little bit older though.
The hot Euphoria chick. What's her name?
Zendaya.
probably Zendaya.
Zoe Kravitz is getting
Zoe
up there now as far as popularity. Zoe Kravitz, as much
She
as
just looks so forgettable.
Who?
Zoe Kravitz. Like,
I think she looks so
No, she's a
unlikable.
cutie.
does she like? Is she charming? You know?
No, she's not. She's unlikable. Like
A lot of people don't like Zendaya either.
No
but
one's charming anymore.
People think that Zendaya still has like a Disney Channel acting style where she just like acts like there's a laugh track, even if there's not one.
Yeah.
Or like she can only make this face. Like,
charm and charisma is a thing of the past. Like it's,
well, yeah, they don't.
We're
need
done
to
with
be,
that.
They don't need to be charismatic anymore.
yeah, no, you just need to be black.
Okay, well.
I mean, that's literally what it is. Chris Mostopoulos said Chris Pine can play in a 50 Shades of Grey remake where a girl boss is doing stuff to him.
Oh my god.
Stuff
Oh
that
my
YouTube
God. Don't
does
even
not let me
speak-
joke about in this super chat. You can guess what the name of the movie would be.
Don't even speak that into existence. That will likely happen.
Dude, it's being
A
filmed
girl
as
boss,
we
50
speak.
Shades.
Oh, please no.
It's just a chick like always wearing what is the Hillary wears? The power suits?
The power suits.
She's a
the
chick wearing
pantsuits,
power suits being like, I like
and the shoulder
violence.
pads.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
And it's Tom, what's Zendaya's boyfriend's name?
Tom Holland.
Tom
I mean,
Holland.
Jamie
Getting
Dornan
cooked.
in 50 Shades, like Jamie Dornan doesn't even seem like the alpha type of actor anyway.
He was in that show The Fall with Gillian Anderson where he plays the serial killer. He's more alpha in that in an extremely creepy way.
Okay. Just anything he plays is going to be creepy.
Kind of, yeah.
Greg Duvier said, yes, Brett, keep talking about how amazing of a show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think you mean was. Xander was always my favorite character on the show. All these other people in the chat were saying Xander was a dork.
He
Xander
was,
sucked,
yeah.
but
Xander was annoying.
But he's lovable and he's amazing and he's like, here's the thing, Buffy never speaks down to it's funny because like his character pines for Buffy early in the show, right? Like he can't stop thinking about her. He wants to get with her. She never sees him that way. Eventually he ends up with Cordelia, but he's on his own journey. And it's just never done in a way that belittles him. It's understood that, look, you're not going to be the Slayer. You're not a witch. You're not magic. But he always has a way of contributing, and the writing understood that and respected him.
That was the charm of the 90s. The charm of the 90s is you are who you are and you're still part of the gang.
Also,
But
like,
now it's everything's so individualistic that it's only one. There is a fashionable narrative, and everything must follow that fashionable narrative. And then another fashionable narrative comes in, and then we pretend nothing in human existence was ever happened before the narrative.
yeah.
Nothing.
Also, like, if you want to see a perfect example of, like, if you want to imagine men's fashion in the 90s, it's every single outfit Xander ever wore. Like, when I look at it, I'm literally transported back to, like, seeing my brother was in high school in, like, 1997, and I'm like, holy crap. That's literally what it looked like. It's exactly...
Where are the 2000s shows where they were wearing like striped long sleeve polos with plaid Bermuda shirts?
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. Like, ever notice how like the men in those shows, like I just watched a couple of videos like on Instagram. They're like, it's like somebody had a video camera at a high school in 2003, and like none of the girls in high school shows ever look like girls look like in high school, because girls in high school wear hoodies and blue jeans to school. At least at my high school.
Well,
in Minnesota, right? So it's like, but in these TV shows, they're always like, on Pretty Little Liars, they're all dressed like mid-20s professional women.
But it's because
on Pretty Little Liars,
Yeah.
they're like business casual, which also like started a weird trend that actually happened in the early 2010s where teenage girls were dressing business casual, and
To-
it was horrible.
It had
To emulate it, yeah.
had to be uncomfortable. Like they're like, I don't really want to do this. It'd be much better to wear some comfortable jeans and a hoodie.
it's because when you're filming raunchy scenes with a minor, you have to go above and beyond to get a bunch of permissions, and the legal guardians have to be there during the thing, and so they get a bunch of 20-year-olds as a result.
But the point is, the fashion should match up. But I guess it's not visually appealing.
realistic, you
It's
mean?
not like it's like, what time did that girl have to get up to go? School starts at 8. She had to be up at 4 to get to do her makeup that well and get her hair done all perfectly and pick the
Yeah.
right outfit. Like they're not getting up at 4 every day so they can look like that just to go to school. That's not a
like
thing.
in Mean Girls.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
They're making this up.
Raymond G. Stanley Jr. said, Brett, don't let it shrivel up too far, Chris. LMAO. Glad I checked in today. I need more PCC in my life. Y'all should check out Mad Heidi.
Okay. Oh, I had somebody.
I haven't seen Mad Heidi.
Who's that one lady that we talked about that one day who has she talks in her car? I already forgot.
Wait,
she was
what?
she was on Dr. Phil.
Oh, HRH.
Somebody was like posting like reaction videos to her this weekend, and it was really, really funny.
Who
it was,
did?
It was somebody, like I went through like just a timeline of somebody who was like posting these reaction videos who clearly didn't get the.
You have to be in the know.
Yeah,
with
you have
HRH.
You have to
know?
understand HR. Like even me, who doesn't really watch HRH, like understood the like.
You
I
get
understood
the
the
vibe.
assignment.
You
They
need
did
to
not
get the
understand
vibe.
the assignment.
Jimmy Bags said gunpowder is more reliable when dry, ready to use. Okay, I didn't realize he was talking about gunpowder there.
Let's read one more and then we will move on.
KMF Opposer said, keeping your powder dry is a reference to being calm and ready for a possible problem in the future. Made popular by Oliver Cromwell at the Battle of Edge Hill, supposedly.
Wow. Thank you for the thorough
Thank you for the
super chat.
history lesson.
All right. All right, guys, we're moving on. So,
Oh my God, this story.
4 years ago, the world wept slightly as the Victoria's Secret fashion show was pulled from the air over controversies surrounding how would you describe the controversies, Mary? Is it because that they weren't inclusive, or is it just because it was sexist? They cited sexist working conditions, misogynist working conditions at Victoria's Secret.
Well, the body positivity movement had a part to play in it, but also a lot of trans people thought that trans models were not included enough in Victoria's Secret's promotional materials because they get to be real women too, right?
Well, now it's back. It's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. The Victoria's Secret fashion show is going to be.
I thought that they put it on hiatus because of like the fact that it's hugely expensive to put on.
No.
And lost the money.
I mean, it does lose the money every year. Like, I'm sure it loses it, but it's.
And they were losing tons of money anyway because like they were, ruining their own brand by making it more inclusive already.
Exactly. So it says the company further said that their new brand projection and mission will be their guiding light. And it says, although it is unclear exactly what that is.
So after the hiatus, the new version is coming, and it's going to be more inclusive
I'm
and
putting
diverse.
pictures on screen. Don't people want pictures? People would rather have pictures on screen for this, right? No?
They said we're always
so.
innovating and ideating in all spheres of the business to continue to put our customer at the center of all we do and reinforce our commitment to championing women's voices and their unique perspectives.
I love the word salad that accompanies.
What the hell
It
does that
doesn't
mean?
anything. It never means anything, dude. Here's what it says. Yeah, did you read this part? To uplift and chant, it says Victoria's Secret is committed to inspiring women around the world with products and experiences that uplift and champion them in their journey while creating lifelong relationships and advocating for positive change. You didn't say anything. That doesn't mean anything, dude. You make underwear and lingerie. Just say it. We make slutty lingerie and underwear and bras for women. That's all you have to do.
Rihanna kind of already ended them with her brand.
Fenty, yeah.
So I don't know. They've kind of ended their prestige as like the lingerie brand, but they were already like ruining it before they ended the fashion show era.
Yeah.
Because they were bringing in all these fat models. And like, if you think about it, what I said before is like, men notoriously don't care about lingerie. They care about looking at women's bodies, and lingerie covers women's bodies. Mainly.
Men like hot chicks in any form.
I will take the women in the lingerie. If other men are passing on them, I will take them.
How bold of you.
Send them my way.
And like, also they were saying, you know, we want to rebrand Victoria's Secret so that it's about what women want and not what men want.
What do women
but
want?
what women want is to be wanted by men, or at least to be what they think men want, but men don't actually want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I don't.
it's kind of hard to follow.
No, I get what you're saying.
But you get what I'm saying,
yes,
right?
I do.
I am every woman.
Dane, you're out of the loop today.
I am every woman.
Might be
first
not
of all,
eating food that is impairing your cognitive function, but
it's a lot.
so they were getting
I mean, how
complaints
does it-
about a culture of misogyny, bullying, and harassment in the company as well.
I'm sure it's not the
Their marketing.
oodles of hot chicks, because you know hot chicks don't bully anyone. They're always just so
Well,
pleasant.
right, we
and
have to believe
kind.
that attractive women don't have a mean bone in their body.
Right. So a bunch of hot chicks worked together, and it was all very peaceful.
Well, they were blaming the male chief marketing officer, Edward Razek. They said that he was anti-plus size women and anti-transgender models, and said that they wouldn't ever be featured in their fashion shows, quote, because the show is a fantasy. And maybe fat people and trans people aren't part of the, average
The traditional male fantasy.
So
Shocking.
that's
Absolutely
an absolute shocking revelation to a lot of people.
I could go to a regular mall and see the women that you're putting in the show with them now, and I don't really need to do that.
I
don't want to
had
do
been
that.
meaning to watch this, but Hulu put out this documentary or like docu-series last year about it called Victoria's Secret Angels and Demons, which is like it sounds like it's about nothing,
Somebody
and it
jerked
is about
themselves
nothing.
off when they came up with that title.
They're talking about the issues of sexism and body shaming that took place when Les Wexner, who apparently was on the Lolita Express at one point or another, was in charge of the company. Allegedly, models were made to feel uncomfortable about their bodies, and Victoria's Secret issued a statement after this docuseries came out saying they're a different company with a new leadership team, and they wanted everyone to feel seen, respected, and valued.
Again, words
Whatever
that
that
mean,
means.
words that mean literally nothing at all. Like if I asked the chat, like, what would it take for you to feel seen, respected, and what was the last one?
Valued.
Value.
And I would
It's
ask
all
you,
about you deserve this, you deserve that,
Yep.
not that you have to aspire to be something you're not. You know?
But wait, there's more. Did you know that Lizzo has an opinion on this? She does.
I'm sure she does.
I'm sorry. I'll take the image off the screen.
I'm sorry.
guy.
Look at that picture, though. Look at that picture.
I got rid of it for
She
a second.
literally can't stand with her feet touching. Oh my gosh! Like this isn't healthy. This isn't okay.
Dude, I love every time. It was like, and now for the opinion on fat people, Lizzo. Like it's every time.
Here is her quote. She says,
At least she's staying in her lane.
"But if brands start doing this only because they received backlash, then what happens when the trends change again?" She continued.
I thought she said she wanted to use cancel culture.
Do
for
the
her benefit.
CEOs of these companies value true inclusivity, or do they just value money? I'll answer that question for you. They just value money. They don't. Nobody in the world actually values inclusivity. No actual person in the business world does. That's not a real thing.
Well, the problem is,
Somebody says no. She's in 2 lanes.
when they put out, yeah, when they put out a commercial like this with a bunch of fat women in it and trans women in it, but then they sprinkle in some hot women as well. You're supposed to buy the narrative that they're all the same. That they all exist on the same tier of hotness and desirability and fantasy.
And you're
but
not
they
allowed to
don't.
pick one or the other. You're not allowed to what they should do is they should do this and then like record people watching it and give people remotes and see like who fast forwards through the ugly people and the fat people just to get to the hot women.
I wonder. Okay, did they announce like which pop star is going to be like performing at it? 'Cause
It's
that's
gonna
a
be
big
Sam
thing, too.
Smith and pasties on.
Is it going to be Sam
Oh
Smith? 'Cause
God,
they've-
no.
Traditionally, they've had like Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift,
Fall Out
Lady
Boy
Gaga.
Fall Out Boy did it.
Yeah, but like now they're gonna choose somebody.
They're just gonna have that. I just want to.
Dude, what if that's
Repulsive.
actually? What if that's what they did? It's just all hot women, and Sam Smith does the music, and that's how they're inclusive.
That would be awesome.
Or it could be Bad Bunny. What do you think?
Oh, that guy.
Sam Smith, and Bad Bunny.
By the way,
Kim Petras.
Bad Bunny is my fault.
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Bad Bunny happened the second I left Puerto Rico for the U.S. and the void that I left in that island allowed him to happen. So I'd like to take this moment to apologize.
It's
to
definitely
the
your fault.
universe.
It's definitely your fault.
Yes.
What's funny to me is like they're including Bella Hadid in this ad, who is like, of course, model, skinny. Notoriously, her mother like tells them to like chew an almond very slowly. And you know, she's like sending this message of love and acceptance and tolerance alongside all of these models who she'd probably rather die than look like them.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
She would probably be utterly humiliated if she gained even 10 pounds in that direction. But we're supposed to accept the message of tolerance and love and acceptance that they're selling. I don't accept that. Also, I don't believe it when Bella freaking Hadid posts a what I eat in a day of her eating anything over 1,000 calories. I don't believe that because I'm not a gullible little baby.
She throws it up after though. That's the part they don't
Yeah,
show.
she's like, she hits record. She's like, are we done?
Whatever she's doing, it's only for that day so that she can make you think she has a normal diet.
That
But
was
it's
a
like,
month's worth of food.
I mean,
the truth is, if you're a skinny model, you are eating less than is recommended by a doctor, probably.
Whenever,
I mean, not if you work out, probably not.
It depends.
Whenever like skaters would do like day in the lives back in like the mid 2000s, that was like a big thing. Was like day in the lives, and it's like everybody's skating like 9 separate spots. It's like they get up at 8 to go skate. Nobody in the world actually.
this is my normal day in my life.
Nobody gets up at 8 to go. Skaters wake up at noon and afternoon, and that's it. Like at least back then, right? So it's like now that you're older, it's a little bit different. But it's like, and it was like, oh yeah, we're up at 9 to go skating. I'm like, liar! You lie. Nobody got up that early to go do that. You're lying. Like, and that trend has just continued onwards. Also, is there a male equivalent to this? To this type of fashion show? Is there a guy's version of this?
Well,
To fat
only
chicks?
gay guys like looking at scantily clad guys that much.
So there's
honestly.
but I get if a guy version of this
Drag
existed, there's no fat dudes in that, are there?
I mean, I wouldn't guess that there are, but they are increasingly trying to include fat models of, like male models as well, like Calvin Klein, for instance.
And that's bad. Don't do that. You don't need that.
Calvin Klein literally had a pregnant
Yeah.
trans male, like female to male identifying model. That's the direction we're going in. It's like, it's, you know, have your cake and eat it too, and then throw it up and then claim it's still cake.
It says it's worth noting that only 13 of Victoria's Secret's products on their website go to 4X. Comparatively, 306 products are sold in a size small. So they're not very inclusive over there at Victoria's Secret. That's not very nice of them.
That's hilarious. They just put a bunch of fat chicks in the shows and
4XL is pretty freaking inclusive. If you're not included there.
But only 13
True.
products of it. Only 13 of it. Also, it's like, I imagine that it's more expensive because it's literally more fabric.
It is.
And then they get mad.
I always asked, like, why is plus size clothing not more expensive than smaller size clothing? Because they're literally using more material.
Yep.
And it costs more. Your carbon footprint, that's what I don't understand. Like, why aren't we talking about the emissions of weighing 400 pounds, you know?
I don't want to think
must be
about the
pretty
emissions
bad.
of weighing 400 pounds personally.
Like, the carbon footprint of being morbidly obese probably has way more of an impact than if normal sized people start eating Impossible burgers.
Look, I'm sorry. Look at this.
the guy that studied that is in Guantanamo right now.
This
probably.
This looks painful.
This and then
And uncomfortable.
this.
But okay, like
Everyone chooses this.
scroll
I don't
down
see a
to the
difference,
video that they posted.
This one
Yeah.
might be copyrighted, but we could.
Oh, is it? Okay.
If it's got music, yeah, probably copyrighted.
But like they're doing
Yeah.
this.
Everyone cover your ears.
Copyrighted.
Okay, they're doing this in a way that like it just flashes all of these images in front of you and you're supposed to accept that all of them are identical. And they're not. In fact, including the skinny hot ones with the fat ugly ones, it's more cruel.
Yeah.
It's making fun of them.
When you watch them go down the aisle and they place them next to each other, it's like it does feel like they're asking you to like laugh at the like
this is an industry run by catty, sinister homosexual men and old women.
Yeah.
And you think that they're doing this because they're nice and they're just like giving the fatties a chance?
No, it makes
And you
money.
don't think they're laughing?
It makes money. It makes money
This
either
doesn't make money.
no, it makes them money by whether through investment, right? Isn't that what ESG is all about? That it is responsible investing for social causes being 4XL and above.
But ESG is basically so you can get loans.
I mean, these companies are always taking out loans, though, aren't they? Like, they're always kind of... don't most of these companies operate at, like, a loss a lot of the time?
Yeah, they do.
No, so...
But
Like,
it's
it's
their
like
own
gaming
fault.
consoles.
It's their own fault when they do that. You know, Victoria's Secret was a huge brand because they were an aspirational brand.
And I miss that. I miss the...
There were also less things on offer, but
Yep.
yeah.
I miss a time when people, on a whole, considered what they saw in the media to be something aspirational. When I watch old movies and I realize that most of the actors and actresses are tall and good looking, it doesn't make me feel envious. Like, it doesn't even feel, in a lot of ways, it's weird. It doesn't even make me feel aspirational. It's like, I don't look at like a tall, like a tall actor and think like, I wish I was taller. I appreciate that visually that is what needs to be represented on screen because it's the best possible image of what we're seeing. I don't feel like I need to look like that person, nor do I feel jealous of that person. And it's weird to me that people feel the need to see somebody that looks exactly like them on screen or on the runway. Like, I don't buy that you are a teenager who's overweight and you see an overweight model and now you think, I can finally see myself on the runway. I can be a model. You could have always seen yourself on the runway if you were more disciplined and you had more vision. But people aren't, and they don't.
It's not even about discipline. I mean, sometimes you're just born with advantages, and nobody is willing to admit that some people are naturally inclined or better than others.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Like that's what inequality is.
Yeah, like,
You can't rectify all disparities. That leads to people like literally dying.
yeah. Well, that's what we're marching towards that.
It sounds
ever so
awfully
slowly.
eugenicist
Yes.
to me.
We're marching towards that ever so slowly here, though, and not even all that slowly in a lot of cases.
I feel like every show I'm on is just like, hey, you guys want to get blackpilled about stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't find it blackpilling because like literally who cares what this like mega corporation does with their brand. I
mean,
fun
it's
of them.
the greater fabric of society, right? It's the fact that
Victoria's Secret is the fabric of society, the very sheer,
I mean,
lacy
no,
fabric of society.
It's the best fabric there is.
Oh
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's the literal fabric. No, but it's to my recurring point that we're in an age where we're so self-censored that we can't express our true desires.
Not everybody
Like-
can be Jordan Peterson and say no fatties.
Yeah. Legend.
Yeah.
We all just gotta pretend it's like, oh, personally I like the morbidly obese one in the wheelchair with the peg leg. But it's not, truthfully, that's not what you think.
Nope, it's not.
But it is unpolite and unbecoming to have such commonsensical admissions.
This is what happens when you don't push back on women's insanity and neuroticism.
Also, part of it, I think, is like it's just how much of us we are connected on the internet now. Like, you could see, like, if this was on TV, you could make that comment to your friend in the room with you and be like, "Look at that! Just like that's gross. I don't want anything to do with that." And you'd both laugh and you'd go on about your day. It's
I mean, you're
different
allowed to
when-
say that about
yeah.
thin models.
Yeah.
Everyone says that about super thin models because
And they
it
get
is
shamed
kind of
plenty.
unsettling
Yeah.
and gross to look like a concentration camp victim while modeling clothes. But they do that because it's the industry. It's a symptom of the industry they're in, and nobody is out here trying to cape for them.
And the
it's a
skinny
personal
models-
choice.
And the skinny models understand that those insults are going to come, and they've just been told deal with it. The rest of them are not being told to just deal with it because it's okay. It's okay to make fun of one of them, but it's not okay to make fun of the others because there's jealousy behind making fun of one, and there's not jealousy behind making fun of the other.
Yeah, one looks like a plank, one looks like a barrel.
And
In fact, there's actually, it's well known that Victoria's Secret angels specifically work out and eat in a way that, like, they don't look like other fashion models. They have more meat on their bones, usually. They don't have opportunities outside of specifically lingerie modeling because of that.
Yep.
So that's part of the male fantasy. So are you going to start including bone-thin models in Victoria's Secret ads now? No. That shows the double standard.
All right. We got some super chats there, Mary. We got a couple.
Hellraiser Art said Chris Pine probably was happy to be spat on. And that's probably why he denies it happened.
He probably loved it.
Denies that it happened.
Oh, he's talking about the Harry Styles thing.
Oh.
He's like, yes, do it again, Harry. That was great.
Yeah.
Do it. I love it.
He's really covering for Harry Styles right now.
That's what he's doing.
Bobcat said Victoria's Secret needs to hire straight men as designers for the same reason why straight guys should ask women for fashion advice. Know your market.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure. I mean, straight men know what they
I don't
like,
know if,
but are they able to design it?
Designing it's a different task entirely.
We have gays for a reason. They're very good at that stuff. Cardio Bro said, I feel seen when I don't wipe off equipment respected by alpha head nods.
Okay.
Is that against gym etiquette?
Yes. It's against gym etiquette.
I'm very confused.
All right. We got one more thing. We've got a womp womp womp. We haven't had a womp 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 in a while, have we?
I love this one.
Guys, $30 million worth of Funko Pop toys will be thrown into the trash. Mary is just loving it, I'm sure.
I mean, they should have melted it down and then made it into one of these awful, public art structures that are shaped like a dildo or something. That's the direction we're going in.
Kind of, in a way. Look, it kind of feels in a lot of ways.
It'll be called late stage capitalism.
I can see it.
And you have to wear a cardigan tied to around your shoulders when you're designing it, anything like that. Look,
they're all Funko Pops of Martin Luther King Jr. They probably do have Funko Pops of him, right?
Seems mostly, it says Funko Pop is holding on to about $246 million worth of dolls at the end of 2022. That's 48% more than what they had on hand just a year before. The market is toppling out from under them. Geek culture, in a way, it's a bubble that's bursting, apparently. Little mini Grogus are being melted down as we speak as they scream in pain.
Yes, and I'm loving that mental image you just gave me.
Thank you.
But Funko Pops and geek merch and stuff is kind of how Hot Topic avoided bankruptcy. So what are they gonna do now?
No, and comic shops. A lot of
shops.
most local LCSs, they weren't making their money on comics. They're making their money on collectibles. So
collectibles, aka
toys.
Adult baby toys.
Exactly. It says, in short, the products they're storing is now worth less than the cost of keeping it on hand, so they're dumping $30 million worth of it. This guy whoever the CEO is, he needs to be just somebody needs to draw turn him into the Chad meme, with David Zaslav, and make them into both Giga Chads, clapping their hands together, just taking out the trash.
I didn't know we felt this strongly about Funko Pops, guys.
Do you have a Funko Pop collection?
I don't.
Why you're being defensive?
I didn't know what Funko Pops were until about 2 minutes ago.
Really?
Wait,
yeah,
seriously?
I have no idea yet.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people collect these and they keep them in the boxes. They don't touch them. They just make walls of them in their homes because
by the way,
they're dinks. They have too much disposable income.
I respect that you were laser focused to dunk on me. You were like, okay, I'm gonna dunk on this guy.
So it says the company reported a loss.
Always ready.
The company reported a loss of $47 million in the fourth quarter of 2022. That's down from a profit of $17 million during the same period the year before. So I guess they just bet too big. I would imagine.
they're-
Like they bet too big on the growth, but like all of the
or specifically the popularity of certain franchises like The Mandalorian.
but also like a lot of it's like think of it, like people had like disposable income in the pandemic because they were getting like government like
They're using their government money
checks, yeah.
to breathe life back into the economy by buying oodles of Funko Pops that will collect dust for decades to come.
I mean, if you get a couple of these that they're throwing away and you store them for 30 years, in 30 years you'll be a thousandaire? I don't know.
$1,000
I mean, this is the same thing as NFTs, right?
No.
It's just NFT that you can touch. That's what collectibles are.
Well, I mean, there's like there's a whole market for
Wow.
things like this, or for like a lot of comics is fueled by speculators. That's why they restart it's why they restart from number one all the time, because the collectors who have to collect them because they want to sell the whole run one day.
Yeah.
It forces them to buy new number ones all the time.
Is
Dude, if I
this
kept-
like... Sorry, go on.
If I kept my Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards that I had as a child, I would have bought this company. Like, I would have been so rich.
Is this like the Beanie Baby crash?
These have held more, like
The
have been
warning
around
of
for
one?
longer. These have been around for. I mean,
My
Beanie
question
Babies
is like, why not just instead of throwing all of these Funko Pops in a landfill, why not give them away to people in need of Funko Pops?
They could have done. Why do they not give away food whenever there's a store outage? They don't just give away the food; they throw it away because it's like a lawsuit waiting to happen to give food away. They're like, if we give too many Funko Pops
Well,
away,
if you give away the Funko Pops, then the value of Funko Pops is going to go down.
yeah. Well, also, like, remember when the whole value for Beanie Babies wasn't in the regular Beanie Babies, it was in for the ones that had mistakes. It was in for, like, the misprints. So, like, Snort and Tabasco, which were printed separately, like, had like, different, they were both bulls or whatever the hell they were, but they had, like, one had, like, one colored nose and one had another colored nose or something like that. It was about the misprints that made certain Beanie Babies valuable, not necessarily just the fact that they existed. Otherwise, anyone can buy a mass-marketed product.
At least Beanie Babies were kind of cute. The Funko Pops are just visually offensive.
Not a fan?
They're not cute in any way.
We should get a Mary Funko Pop. Chat, should we make a Mary Funko Pop? I wonder how much it would cost to R&D a Mary Funko Pop.
Mary discovers inflation.
Funko.
Whatever you do, don't look up the Mandalorian inflation.
I'm not doing that. I will never do that. I'm guessing that we should make a Funko Pop of you. Like, who would be the best person? I guess a Tim Funko Pop would be good because it could have like the full size.
Ian?
Ian and Tim, because Ian's could have like the
That
hair.
hasn't been done yet.
Like,
Why can't you make custom ones?
you maybe you can.
Don't they let you do that?
I'm guessing like Tim's could have like the beanie. Ian's got the long hair, and then like maybe like who else? Who else would be a good one? Like a Seamus one that's taller.
Oh, they have to. Well, they all have to be the same height, right?
You can make a Seamus one that's taller. What's about like so if we replace Funko Pops, what will be
like-
the next trend?
Who knows?
What's that saying? Like, heroes never live to see themselves cast in stone or cast in bronze or some shit like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like,
They don't live long enough
only villains will see like themselves like made into monuments of stone.
No.
I sort of feel like the same thing is true of Funko Pops, where like if you're made into a Funko Pop, then you might want to reevaluate.
Dude,
your
there's
moral
3D
compass.
there's 3D printers here. We could make our own Funko Pops.
I wonder if the 3D
Sure.
printers are still functional.
We could
Probably.
totally do that. I'm down. I'm down.
I don't
They'll
feel
just be
as
really
strongly-
demented looking Funko Pops.
I don't feel as strongly about this Funko Pop sensation.
Make it like Mr. Potato Head, like put the nose down here and the mouth up here and the eyes over to the side. That'd be cool.
Is there anything else that people collect as much as Funko Pops?
Chat. What else do people collect? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. People
collect a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But like at the same level, because Funko Pops are basically like the most popular merch.
I mean, collectible
That I can
cards,
think
like basketball cards, those old like junior
Tiger
year
Electronics handheld video games.
video game consoles, old video games.
The old Tiger Electronic ones that like Double Dragon and stuff like that.
I respect it if you collect old things, but Funko Pops, you're
Pogs. Somebody mentioned
collecting new
Pogs.
shit that is made new for you with every new franchise.
Oh yeah. No, like
Collecting
anything-
old things is cool.
I collect like old Nintendo 64 and Sega video games because they're old and they're harder to find.
It literally means there's a limited supply.
What
of
I
them.
used to love
Coins.
was going to thrift stores to find them back before. Like, so there was a great reel or like a TikTok posted this weekend where somebody pointed out like everyone like was asking like why did thrift stores become so expensive, and someone's like it's all Macklemore's fault because the prices, like thrift store prices, like skyrocketed after that song came out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like they're like it was the economy recovering. Like it had nothing to do with that. It was the damn song.
Someone said firearms.
That a lot of people collect
Oh,
firearms.
that's a nice collectible. It has a use, at least. But I mean, I'm just saying, I find it way more respectable to collect antique things, retro things that are not going to be made new again than just like being,
Texas.
than like getting excited about the new line of Funko Pops. Like,
My mom collected McDonald's toys.
I love that. That's cute.
My mom.
McDonald's toys used to be
They were
like,
awesome.
actually good,
Yeah.
and now they suck.
My mom had like all the ones where like they'd come in like it would be like toys for like different like Disney movies that would come out, and they'd come in like little mini VHS cases on the inside and stuff like that. Or even I still have the old Batman Returns and Batman Forever cups that you could get from McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. I still have those somewhere.
What happened to good toys for kids in fast food?
I mean, I suppose part of it is like
Everything's digital.
We've
Why are they
aged
bullshit
out
now?
Like we've aged out for a lot of that. So
Yeah.
like the toys for Star Wars.
But I
did
feel
not
like the
do well.
actual quality went down.
There's whole YouTube channels. Like a lot of the people that like operate in the same space. A lot of the comic book reviewers also review like or talk about the toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's like they talk about like oh it's made from this mold, and they know like the type of plastic it's made with and all that stuff. It's a discipline. So.
We got some
All
super
right,
chats.
we got a couple there.
Regatan said Funko Pop's design sucks. Buy anime figurines.
Anime figurines. That's something.
I'll go with neither.
Dude, they spend thousands of dollars on those.
I already waste too much money on stuff I don't need. Like I don't.
At least with like Lego sets, you get the experience. Like you put it together yourself. The Funko Pops just seem so low effort.
That's true. The Legos are still a huge thing, like putting sets together and stuff like that. Have you seen that guy who built like a Glock with like an actual rackable slide out of Legos?
No.
He built like a Glock. It looks just like, I don't know how he
It's
did
like
it.
functional?
I don't know if it shoots anything, but like I think it shot like rubber bands or something like that.
That's
But it was like
cool.
the slide actually worked.
Justin LaFrance said 1,000 Game Cubes.
Sounds like somebody who watches us on a Nintendo Wii.
Is that you?
Is that person?
Dude.
Is it him?
I don't know. All right, Dane, my friend, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, guys, honestly, I've learned a lot today. And
What did you learn?
I'd like to be seen. I'd like to be heard. Most importantly, I want to be valued
And understood.
and understood. And if you want to see, if you want to do all that for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Dane Font. And now, I shall spell that out for you. DANEFONT.
All right, man. Mary, where can they find you?
You can see me, hear me, and validate me
Based.
on social media at Mary Archived, Instagram and Twitter.
Should be like you can argue with me on Twitter, you can validate me on Instagram, and that's that's
Send
what it
me
is.
hate on Instagram and then send me hate on Twitter, validate me on Instagram.
It's a perfect balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we go, could you hit the like button? Could you subscribe to this channel? If you have not done so already, we appreciate it greatly. If you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific, and there's one more there. Mary, do you want to read that one?
Regatan said, then Mary, I recommend Gunpla or Roll Life DIY kit.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. All right, what is it? The 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to this podcast rather than watch, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to follow this show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.